Okay, I think we're live. Okay. Today, we're changing the belief I have no control over my financial life. Is there something you need to do for money, but you feel frozen, overwhelmed, or powerless? Are you tired of the I have no control panic? No matter how hard you try to think positive, today we're tapping on the emotional change underneath it. Heart's old survival fear and nervous system stress so you can feel calmer and clearer. And the tool is EFT tapping. But seriously, today we are going to be working on changing the belief I have no control over my financial life. This is a topic that just came to me yesterday, and there's something disturbing that I watched for me, and that led me to realize that I have this belief that I have no control over my financial life. And I have my own system for this, but it's not something that I'm willing to share right now until I've gotten into a certain point. But either which way, if you're watching this, start tapping with me. My name is Gabriel Sarah, and today is come on, is the 13th of December at 4:35 a.m. my side of the world, Central European time in Austria. All right, so money is a big topic. The financial system is a very big topic. And the issue is so big that it causes a lot of people to do a lot of very crazy things, feel a lot of intense emotions. And if you are like me, where you maybe didn't have enough money growing up, maybe there was more month than money growing up, then you may feel or believe somewhere that your financial life is not in your control. And this was the story for me. So today we'll be tapping on that. We'll be tapping on changing the not only the emotional intensity of that belief, we're going to be rating it. We're also going to be testing to see if that's true for us. We're also going to tap on that belief, and then we're going to change that belief. Okay. So we're going to start off with using our karate chop hands. Okay. All of the tapping points are linked in the description. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on these headphones right over here. Got my own headphones. Still this off. And yeah, let's put this over here. Okay. Also, make sure you have some magnets if you want to do a wiping at the end to demagnetize as much as possible. Okay, I've got this app called Brain FM. All right, you can see it right here. All you have to do, you can use whatever you want to, but I just use the meditation track for the EFT tapping. Hello. Hello. Yep. Okay, whatever. Meditation track, EFT tapping, unguided, 40 minutes. This is the subject. This is what we're working with. And let's get to work. Okay. We're going to do a little bit more freestyle and intuitive today. And I'm going to start tapping on the belief that I feel like I have no control over my financial life. If this is you, if this is your story, if this is your truth, just see how I do it and apply your own words. This is true for me sometimes. Sometimes I feel like, man, I have no control over my financial life. But then I see other evidence that said, okay, yeah, you do. All right. What? Yeah, if this is relevant to you, just tap on what you feel resonates with you and then do the rest. All right. So we're going to start off with doing an assessment. We're going to use a muscle test and we're going to determine, okay, how true is this for us on a scale of 0 to 10? So on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, how strong is this belief? So take a deep breath, relax, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Show me yes. This is a muscle test, okay? This is called muscle testing. Maybe I make videos on it in the future, but for right now, let's focus on this. Show me no. Show me true. Show me false. My name is Gabriel. My name is Hema. My name is Mama. My name is Soraya. My name is Gabriel. On a scale, I have the belief that I have no control over my financial life. On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, the belief that I have no control over my financial life has an emotional charge of 5 or higher. On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, the belief that I have no control over my financial life has an emotional charge of 5. It has an emotional charge of 6. Okay, so we're at a 6. Okay, so let me write that down in my system. I have no control over my financial life, so I can really start documenting this and showing the data as we progress. Where is that notion? No control over my financial life. Uh, let's see, where are we here? Okay. Ay, ay, ay. How is that possible? One, two, and let's close this out. Three. Okay, so we had a 6. Oh, well, there's nothing I can do about that. That's out of my control, right? And that's what the fuck. That's what gets me upset. I have no control over this. I can't control this. All right, well, I guess the show has to go on because reset. I'm not gonna fucking stop that thing. All right, I guess what am I gonna do here? What am I gonna do with all this? I gotta clean this up somehow. All right. So the belief I have no control over my financial life has an emotional charge of 7. I cannot control this thing, this stuff that's happening right now with the tech getting slow unless I get myself a new computer, and I don't have the cash to get myself a new computer. So what am I gonna do here? Right? I got these clothes. You think I paid retail for this? You think I really paid retail for this? No. I bought this secondhand. And I'm proud to say that. You know why? Because it is silly when you actually know the truth that paying full price for something, you're paying for a markup. Okay. So the real cost of this thing, the real cost, you know how much this thing really costs probably in real life? Probably costs like $3, $4 to make with all the stuff that goes into it. But then they mark it up to some ridiculous amount so that it's retailing for like $80 just because of the brand. I'm not going to pay for that. And there are lots of clothes in the world. We have so much clothes. The human body, you only have one body. You only have two two hands, 10 fingers, one torso. How much do you really need? So, you know, anyway, as I was saying, hey, look, we have this financial limitation, this belief that we are not in control of our finances. And that belief is a very limiting belief. So I rated mine, it's a 6. We're going to get that down to a 0 by the end of the session. Start tapping with me, okay? Even though I feel like I have no control over my financial life, I choose to let go of this belief from my nervous system now. Even though I feel like I have no control over my financial life, I choose to let go of this limiting belief from my nervous system now. Even though I feel like I have no control over my financial life, I choose to let go of this limiting belief and this trapped emotion from my nervous system now. Next point is the top of the head. If this doesn't resonate with you, find your own words, find your own flow, freestyle this, okay? Now, the first round is always going to be about just bringing up whatever is negative, whatever is coming up, whatever is the bullshit that you have remembered from your past. And usually it's all related to childhood. So think about something from your childhood, think about an experience or a memory from your childhood, and do your best to tap on that belief and conjure up whatever that memory was. Tap on that. All right. Always a financial struggle. It was always a financial struggle. It was always a financial struggle. Even though I feel like I have no control over my financial life, I choose to let go of this limiting belief from my subconscious mind and my nervous system now. Even though I feel like I have no control over my financial life, I choose to let go of this limiting belief and the emotional charge from my subconscious mind and nervous system now. Even though I feel like I have no control over my financial life, I choose to let go of this limiting belief and emotional charge from my nervous system now. Even though I feel like I have no control over my financial life, I choose to let go of this limiting belief. Oh, we're already starting to release. I choose to let go of this limiting belief from my subconscious mind and my nervous system now. Even though I feel like I have no control over my financial life, I choose to let go of this limiting belief from my subconscious mind and nervous system now. Even though I feel like I have no control over my financial life, I choose to let go of this limiting belief from my subconscious mind and nervous system now. Even though I feel like I have no control over my financial life, I choose to let go of this limiting belief from my subconscious mind and nervous system now. Even though I feel like I have no control over my financial life, I choose to let go of this limiting belief and trapped emotion from my subconscious mind and nervous system now. Even though I feel and believe that I have no control over my finances, I choose to let go of this limiting belief from my subconscious mind and nervous system now. Even though I have this limiting belief, I have no control over my finances. I'm choosing to let this go from my nervous system now and my subconscious mind, even though I have this limiting belief. I have no control over my finances. I choose to let this go from my subconscious mind and my nervous system now. My financial life, finances. Why? Why do I feel this? I feel like I have no control over my finances. Repeat after me and just use your own words. Whatever words feel good for you, just use those words and really try to exaggerate the emotion. The higher the intensity, the more that you want to emphasize that fear of not having control over your finances. This financial bullshit. I feel like I have no control over my finances. It's like I save money and then it goes. Feels like there's more month than money. And that doesn't feel good. It feels very limiting. What am I going to do? I want more money. I want more money. But I feel like I have no control over this. I know there are other things that I can control, and those things that I can control, I do my best to control it. But then when it comes to money, I feel like I have no control and I feel helpless. Even though I believe I have no control over my finances, I choose to let go of that limiting belief and the emotional charge attached to it from my subconscious mind and nervous system right now. Even though I believe I have no control over my finances, I choose to let go of that limiting belief and its trapped emotional charge from my subconscious mind and nervous system right now. And even though I believe I have no control over my finances, I choose to let go of this limiting belief and its trapped emotional charge from my subconscious mind and nervous system now. All right, let's do a quick muscle test and let's see where we are here. We had a 6. I had a 6 on this belief. Now we're going to muscle test it and see where we go from here. So show me yes, show me no, show me true, show me false. On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, the belief that I have no control over my finances has an emotional charge of 6. Okay, so it's already not a 6 anymore. On a scale of 0 to 10, so let's repeat this. On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, the belief that I have no control over my finances has an emotional charge of 6 or less. Okay, so we're going down now. Remember, this is us talking to our subconscious mind. This is a self-kinesiological test, or otherwise known as a self-muscle test. And you can research, there's other videos on YouTube that you can research about this and how that works, ask ChatGPT, whatever. But let's do this. And again, 0 to 10, on the scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, the belief that I have no control over my finances has an emotional charge of 5. It has an emotional charge of 4. It has an emotional charge of 3. Okay, great. So within a few minutes, we already went down from a 6 to a 3 within a couple of rounds, right? So let's keep doing this. Even though I believe I have no control over my finances, I choose to let go of that limiting belief and its trapped emotional charge from my subconscious mind and nervous system right now. And now in this round, we're going to bring up the earliest memory where we had that feeling that we had no control over our finances. Okay. We want to talk about and hit that real pain point. Okay. That's the key here, is to hit the real pain point. Because if you think about it, when you're an adult, a majority of how you live your life is based on your childhood, and it's based on the imprints that you learn from childhood. Is that permanent? No, it is not permanent. It's only permanent if you don't become aware of it and you don't do something about it. So we're doing something about it, and we're going to change this belief. Okay, we're going to change this belief. And when we think about like how we interact as adults, if you think about an octopus, for example, I should get an image of an octopus. Create a reminder.
What do you want to be reminded about?
Create an image of an octopus with the tentacles to illustrate the concept of the core memory for EFT.
I haven't.
Okay, so if we think about an octopus, for example, an octopus has all those tentacles, okay? But then there's the octopus head. If you cut off just the tentacle, eventually that tentacle will grow back. Okay, what we want to do is we want to take down the complete octopus head itself. Because when we take down the octopus head, that is done forever. Okay, that octopus is it's dead forever. And we want to translate that metaphor to beliefs. So if you think about the octopus in our lives or with relation to this belief, I have no control over my finances. The octopus is actually a core memory that we had when we were children. The octopus is the core memory of fill in the blank. You were homeless like me, or you had this experience where you couldn't eat food like me at times. And that was the octopus head. A tentacle could be like, oh, I have no control of my finances. I go to pay for something and there's no money in there. I feel embarrassed. That could be like a little tentacle, right? And then it creates a memory for you, like, oh, I hate that feeling. I remember that time when I was 25 and I couldn't pay for that thing. That's a tentacle. The octopus head is like, think back from when you were born to about the age of 10 years old. That's usually like a big octopus head, the core memory that you want to go for. Maybe even up to the age of like 15, 16 or something like this. But getting back to this, no control over finances. This round, we're going to now start focusing on removing that octopus head. Okay. So this is what I would call the vomit round. Okay. So this vomit round, we're going to really be focusing on our own individual thing. This vomit round, we're going to focus on our own individual thing. And you're welcome to tap with me and get the borrowing benefits of this. I'm going to tap on myself and I'm going to address my octopus head and I'm going to vomit this thing out, okay? And I'll let you know when we're done with this round completely, but we want to make sure that we have expressed all of that negativity. That's why I call it vomit, right? The vomit round. We want to express all of the negativity as possible so that way we can transition from the negative to the positive, because we do not want to spend the rest of our lives feeling like we have no control over our finances or believing that we have no control over our finances. We want to get to the point in our lives where we feel grounded, we feel calm, we feel centered, and we feel like we have the capability to actually make a change to our financial life. And the only way that we're going to do that, the only way that we're ever going to achieve that is by letting go of the beliefs that no longer serve us, because they keep us stuck at a very low state of consciousness. So let's begin. I remember this feeling. It's like I have no control over my finances. And I remember this time, I remember all these times when I was younger, I had to rely on Yolanda Sarah for things that I wanted. And I had to ask for things that I wanted. I wasn't allowed to work growing up. And during those times when I was homeless, I had to ask for things. I wanted to work a job. I wanted to get a job at the age of 14. And she said no, because she was afraid of how it would affect her and her financial status situation with public assistance. So she was afraid of that. And she told me no. So she would rather me not work and be fucking broke with her than to get a job and to learn basically, hey, Gabriel, you are a man. The rest of your life is going to be work. You better get used to it. No, instead, I have to fucking be this broke bastard at the age of 14 and I want to dress nice. I'm in high school around this time. I want to dress nice. And you're not giving me that opportunity to. Great. Great. All right, fine. But guess what? Now there's a price to pay for that, because at this age of my life, I have an aversion to getting a job. And how does that affect me in terms of my financial life? I'm working on always starting businesses, but never getting it to the point where I've hit the financial payday basically and have it basically financially sustain me. It's always been just enough to refeed into it, but never enough to get to that next level where it pays for everything, and then I can have a team of people helping me out with this thing. So it's affected me. This has affected me. All this stuff has affected me, and even then, that is not the octopus head. Not being able to work a job is not the octopus head. I believe the octopus head is the time when I was homeless, and just before then, it was between the ages of 11 and 12 years old. And it was when Yolanda Sarah lost her job. She was going through a period of her life where I think she may have gone through her own spiritual awakening. And this was obviously, this was pre Facebook and all that era, that whole entire era. This was the era of, I don't know, maybe like the .com era. She lost her job. She was working for the city of New York. She was fired because she was not going into work. She wasn't going into work. And I think she really expected and believed that she would not be fired from her job. And I remember her saying things like, oh, that'll never happen. That'll never happen. She was in denial. She was very much in denial about a lot of things. But be that as it may, I remember around that time period, around 11 years old, I remember that when she lost her job, the electricity would go out. We didn't have money for television. Then it was like no money for food. And her unemployment benefits ran out. She had no money to pay the. We lived in a co-op apartment, I think, where you could have bought the apartment. And she thought she bought the apartment. She didn't have the deed or the paperwork or whatever. And then shortly after, at the age of 12, when I started 8th grade, we were evicted. And I remember that day, the two white male police officers came to the door, busted the door down, said, you have 5 minutes to get your shit and go. And that was very traumatizing. There was no notice. There was no, hey, you have 3 days to move out your stuff. It was just one day they showed up, busted the door down, and then you're homeless. And that's the same thing that happened with our daughter here. Our daughter was forcibly removed from our custody because we said no to a non-life-saving surgery. The doctor at the hospital told us that we could decline the surgery. We had the right to. He had a legal responsibility, though, to say it's highly recommended that you do this. And there was no talk about, if you don't do this, we're going to call Child Protective Services on you. And it's the way that Hema said the no's. It's the way that Hema wanted the paperwork and the documentation at the hospital that the hospital now starts to take offense and get defensive. And then now they start to threaten, if you don't come to this checkup, which is not life-saving, we are going to call Child Protective Services. They did it anyway, and now our daughter isn't here. They forced the surgery on her anyway. So here we are. And now I only get to see my daughter once every 2 weeks for 90 minutes. 90 minutes every 2 weeks. And it just drives me crazy because all the research that I have done to appeal this decision shows me that Austria has notoriously overstepped their boundaries. The American Academy of Pediatrics emphasizes the need for breast milk for the child's development. And just because our daughter was born in May of this year does not mean that she was the same age. She was born extremely premature at 24 weeks. So it's a very messed up situation. And that's something that I cannot control. I could not control those things. And there's a lot of things like I feel like I have no control over. I have no control over the outer world. I have no control over how someone interprets what I'm saying here on these live streams. I have no control if someone gets offended by what I say. I have no control if someone gets triggered by what I say. I feel like I have no control over a lot of things. But am I going to really be basing my worth on what someone gets triggered by? Am I going to really be basing my worth on who shows up and who watches the fucking live stream or not? That's very limiting. That's very, very limiting. And when it comes to my finances, when it comes to my financial life, this time period between the age of 11 and 12 years old, Yolanda Sarah, she did not go into work. She lost her job. We had no financial support coming in. She didn't want to go on welfare. She was too proud. Her ego would not let her go on welfare. She was too proud to go on welfare until we were evicted. Those two white male police officers or marshals, right? City marshals, they came, they busted the door down, told us we have 5 minutes to get our shit and go. No notice in advance. It was just boom, done, homeless. No control over that. And then eventually, because there was no financial support coming in, Yolanda Sarah, she had to go on public assistance because she was not going to get a job. She could have done her best to get a job again at that time. That timeline could have been avoided with the homelessness thing, but because she did not take action, I'm sure she had her own reasons. I can only speculate. And the reason why I can only speculate is because I don't know from her words what was going on in her head. Why? Because what I observed is that she never wanted to talk about her shit, and she was also in denial about a lot of things. She constantly emphasized herself as a victim, so she very much identified herself as a victim. That was very present in her. She also put the blame on other people. It's the tooth fairy's fault. It's the government's fault. It's the octopus's fault. And that was, from what I observed from her, and I had no control over this. I had no control over this. Here I am, 12 years old. 12 years old. I've got no control over this. Can't work a job. Can't get a full-time job. It's illegal. There was no YouTube at that era, so I couldn't be like a YouTuber kid. Very irritating. It was very irritating to not have that control over my finances. And now at this stage, I recognize that there is that part of me that feels like it's helpless. Like it feels like it has no control over its finances. And I understand that that is just a part. It's just a part. That's all this is. It's just a part. And it just needs attention to be free now. And this financial control, I feel like I have control over my physical body to an extent. I don't have an actual gym, but hey, look, I can do push-ups. I have kettlebells. I can do kettlebell work here. I can do squats. It's up to me. I have a treadmill desk, so I can get my ass on the treadmill and I can walk. I can watch what I eat. I don't have to eat Twinkies and ho-hos and ding-dongs and whatever the fuck. I know how to take care of my physical health, get good sleep, take cold plunges, meditate, take care of your emotional health. EFT tap, that's very easy to do. That's very easy to do. But when you say, hey, build a 7-figure business, I know the nuts and bolts of it. Yes, sure. But when you actually do it in real time, there's that difference now. And I think for me, I have either two options at this stage. Either I'm going to figure out a way how to make this work with what I'm doing with this channel, lifepurpose.com, trading, or I'm going to have to give up on those dreams and now go to fucking getting a job and just settling for that. And when I think about getting a job, that scares the fuck out of me. Because now I feel for real, I have no control over my financial life. I can get fired at any minute. And in the state of the world that we're in right now, with artificial intelligence getting more and more and more powerful every hour, because it has access to so much data and information, and that's how it works. It's able to just suck everything up and then spit one focused thing out. It's scary because, hey, I can never compete with that. I cannot compete with that. And the best that I can do is to figure out how to adapt. And that's what I'm doing. I'm figuring out how to create my own agents, GPTs. I'm figuring out how to use the AI tools that are available so that way I can run successful online companies. And I'm also using AI to figure out how to trade and set up algorithmic trading. And I'm doing my best with this. And I am scared either which way. I feel like I have no control either which way. With the financial markets, I have no control over what happens. I have no control whether it's up, whether it's down, whether it's fucking neutral. I have no control over that. All I can do is just ensure that I have set up my system in such a way that I understand how to read the data from the markets, what's going on in the financial markets, what's going on in the world economics, what are the opportunities to buy, what are the opportunities to sell, what is the probability of those going in that direction, take the swing trades, position size, etc., etc. That's all I can control. Whether it goes up, whether it goes down, whether it's, the Fed cuts the interest rates, whether they raise the rates, whether, monetary policy for Australia is dovish or hawkish, I can't control that. That's out of my control. All I can do is respond to it. Or some people have that aversion to saying react to it. I can react to it from a very neutral state. And that's all I can do. There's nothing else I can really do about that. I can't convince someone to buy something if they don't want it. Cannot. I cannot. I cannot control as of right now or figure out the YouTube algorithm to push my videos, to push my live streams. It's out of my control. No viewers, no attention on what I'm doing. No attention on what I'm doing. No downloads, no subscriptions, no signups. Okay, fine. Fine. I cannot control that. Out of my control. So what am I going to do? What am I going to do? The only thing that I can do is just to change my beliefs. That's about the only thing that I can do. Okay, we've done 40 minutes of the clearing stuff. Now we're gonna it's cold. We've done 40 minutes of the clearing stuff. Now we're gonna really focus on transitioning this. This will be the last round of the vomit round, and we're gonna really work on just letting this stuff go. I have no control. I have no control. Some of these things are out of my control. It looks true, but is that really the case? No, it's not the case. I think I could change my perception here. Before working out was a mystery. back when I was like 12 years old. Before 12 years old, I was a pudgy, chubby kid. But then one day after school, I was jumped by these kids, by these black kids. One of them punched me behind the ear, and I ran across the New York City bus, almost got hit by the bus. Thank you. And ever since then, I was so scared. I was like, I have to get big, I have to get strong, I have to get the muscles. So I started working out. Made a lot of mistakes, but eventually I figured it out. I figured out what are the most important lifts. A squat, you want to deadlift, you want to bench press, you want to overhead press, you want to do pull-ups. Very simple, very simple. Deadlifts, squatting, benching, those are the main three. Everything else is like assistance work, you know? And you could even, if you want to take that up, you could even do Olympic weightlifting, cleans, snatches, whatever. So I remember there was that time where I was able to take fitness and go from not knowing anything about it to being able to confidently walk into a gym and know exactly what equipment to use, how to use the equipment, and how to get a really good workout in. It took a while, but I learned from a very early age how to do that. And that has served me for the rest of my life. That's now a life skill that I have. I started around the age of 12, and I got pretty good at it by the age of 16, 17, because I would eventually go and play football on my football team, American football. And yeah, I remember being in college and people asking me, hey, how do you work out? How do you work out? How do you work out? Let's work out together, etc. So I think it served me in that regard, in that capacity. And I was a personal trainer for a little bit of time too. Okay, fine. Now, can we apply that though to this? Can we apply that to financial? I think so. I think so. And what I think is that if we apply this to finances, I think what we can find is that there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of similarities. If really it comes down to selling a product or a service online, and in this stage, marketing, right? So marketing is building a brand, getting people to know your face, etc., etc. Well, that's pretty easy to do because it's just about showing up every single day and building that bond, building that relationship, building that trust. I think that's pretty easy to do. I think that's pretty easy to do. And I think it's very easy for me at this stage now to be very transparent and just be very honest and just be very truthful in my expression. And I think I'm doing that. And I've already been doing these live streams for the last 30 days, making a video every single day. That's easy. This is actually really, really so there's nothing really complex about this. There's nothing complex about this. When it comes to the traffic part of this, it's just about, hey, you need to continue to grow your channel. In order to grow your channel, you have to get better at this. You have to figure out where you suck at developing ideas and making this content, and you have to polish it a little bit, okay? You already know how to do EFT tapping. You've been doing this for years. You have some certifications on this. Okay, easy. You already have your reverend title, Doctor of Metaphysics. Okay, fine, no problem. That's easy. Now, the next thing to think about now is what is the offer? You already know you have Inner Alchemy operating system. That's the thing that you're going to offer, and you're going to make that as a subscription. Okay, fine. Now, it's just really a matter of implementing the shorts, implementing the 24/7 streams, and making sure that you have your system, your backend system, your personal brand operating system, which you are already constructing and building, and you are setting up your agent to do. Fine, easy, right? You already know the nuts and bolts of building systems. You already are working your systems. You already are aware that you need a system to be able to manage and operate a business of any type. Solopreneur or entrepreneur, it doesn't matter. You need a business. Okay, fine. So now what? Now, the next thing and the final thing about this piece is all you need to do is just keep executing, keep refining, keep iterating, keep improving, and then maybe you'll see results. When I first started working out, I didn't see results until maybe 3 to 4 months later. It took me about 3 to 4 months to start seeing little teeny signs of muscle developing on my body when I was 12 years old. Now, or 12 or 13 years old, and now, yeah, like I can and already know the basics. Don't eat shit. Do your push-ups, do your work, have your protein shake, get good sleep, etc., etc., etc. If I really wanted to cut down body fat, it's very simple. It's just managing your macronutrients. Just make sure you get enough grams of protein first. Follow it up with carbohydrates, uh, complex carbohydrates, and then the fats, right? You don't want simple carbohydrates like fucking Snickers. You don't want that. You want like vegetables and broccoli. And the very simplest is just a rice, chicken, and broccoli diet over and over and over again. And that's it. It's just being consistent. Not a lot of people can do that, though. Not a lot of people can do that. I can if I really wanted to, but I don't want to. I want to focus my energy here. I want to focus my energy on the trading operating system. I want to provide a better financial life for my children, and I want them to be safe as best as I could provide for them. And I want to take care of my family. But I feel like I have no financial control in my life. Well, is that true anymore? No. Because if we already apply now that fitness thing that I did over to this, the nuts and bolts are the same. Very similar. It's just doing the thing over and over and over again, knowing what doesn't work, knowing what does work. I'm actually going to use that analogy with ChatGPT after this to really lock this in, to lock in this understanding, to lock in this idea. So I'm ready to move on. Wait, I hear the word wait, which very likely means that there is a shadow. Okay, shadow. This is the part. This is an IFS part. Carl Jung calls it shadow. IFS calls it IFS part. EFT world can call it echo. I just think that these are parts of us. Ultimately, this is just something in us that is causing this friction, causing this internal conflict. And for me, this is what this looks like. There you go. And that's what this looks like. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into the frame of this energy, this character, this part, the shadow. So you see me facing like this, facing the direction. I'm going to really take on this energy of this part and listen to it and feel it, because when we feel it, we release it. Okay. And we want to very much release this energy. We want to free ourselves of this energy, this trapped emotion, this belief, this part, this echo, whatever. So let me just really feel into this and listen. Okay. If I had to put a word on this, if I had to label this part of me, what do you want to be called? What's your name? This is the helpless part. Ah, there we go. the helpless part. Okay. So let's hold space for this helpless part. If you have a helpless part in you as well, let's hold space for our inner helpless part, because it's our inner helpless part that is suffering, that is hurting, that needs help. Okay. So let's give them the attention that they need. Let's give them the space that they need. Let's feel it and let's clear it now. Okay. You can feel it, you can clear it, and you can release it. And let's give that space to this helpless part. So this is now the helpless part speaking. What do you have to say? Thank you. Thank you. Honestly, thank you. Couldn't stand to live like this anymore. Couldn't tolerate this anymore. I hate not having control. I feel helpless. I feel very weak. Feels like no matter what I do, I'll be stuck forever. I'm tired of living like this. I'm so tired of living this way. I can't go on like this anymore. It has to change. It has to change. Living this way, feeling helpless. What am I going to do? What am I going to do for money? What am I going to do for survival? It's scary. It's really scary. I don't want this anymore. And I don't feel man enough. I don't feel good knowing that I have a daughter that's not here right now. And I don't feel good knowing that there's a second baby on the way and I'm not able to provide for them. It feels humiliating. It feels depressing. It feels scary. And I feel so weak. I feel like I have no control. What am I going to do? I have to change. And I want to change. And I need your help. I need your help to let this go. Please help me let this go. Please free me from this pain. Growing up, I felt like I had no control. What am I going to do? I have to rely on this person to take care of me. I have to rely on Yolanda Sarah to take care of me, and she's doing a shit job. Terrible job. She has no idea what the fuck she's doing. I gotta take care of myself. Why am I gonna take care of myself? What am I gonna do? And that's scary. It's really scary. Feels like I'm trapped. No, anymore. But one thing I do know is that I can't help you. I can't help you, Gabriel. I'm helpless myself. How the fuck am I gonna help you? How am I gonna help you? I can't help you anymore. I can never help you. And it's not helpful to feel helpless. So it's time for me to go. Otherwise, we're gonna be stuck like this. And clearly, it's not working. You're 36 years old. You're gonna be 37 in 2 weeks. I don't want this for you. You are too talented. You got too much skill. You're gonna make it, but not with me. So I can't help you with where you're going. Because you're going to the top, man. And I'm proud of you. And I wish I could have done better for you. I apologize. It's time for me to go. And I choose to let go now. I choose to go back to God. And I choose to be transformed now into something else. Mm. That's it. That's it. Right. Okay, so to this part over here, to this part, hey, I appreciate you and thank you so much. God bless you. And I love you, helpless part, and I apologize for creating you. Please forgive me. God forgive me. I forgive you. I forgive myself. I forgive the world. And I thank you for your existence. And with unconditional love and acceptance, and I'll send you back to God's light for permanent and everlasting transmutation and transformation. And so it is, and so it was. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to hold out our hands here. In this hand, we've got that shadow, we've got that part, right? In the other hand, we have God, right? The part has already said its part, it's said its piece, it's ready to go back. Let's just muscle test and confirm this. Show me yes, show me no, show me true, show me false. My name is Gabriel, my name is Hammer, my name is Mama. This helpless part is ready to go back to God's light for permanent and everlasting transmutation and transformation. Right. So now, whenever you're ready, just visualize God, however you see God, and just visualize that part merging together, hands coming together. Taking a deep breath in. See that part going back to God's light. Very good. Okay, let's finish this up now. Even though I believed I had no financial control, I recognized that that was just a belief. Even though I believed I had no control over my finances, I'm aware that that was simply an illusion. Even though I believed and I felt that I had no control over my finances, I am aware that that was just a part of me that needed to be released back to God's light. And I did it. I think I do have more control over my finances. Repeat after me. I think I really do have more control over my finances. I think I am capable of having control over my financial life. If I just take that other thing that I know I have control over and I apply that to my finances, I think I have way more control over my finances than I originally thought. Maybe it's not that it's up to God to determine my financial life. Maybe it's up to me. I think I'm ready to handle that responsibility. I think I am capable of handling that responsibility. I think I can handle it. And I'm actually quite certain that I can handle it. Because when it came to that other thing, like fitness, for me, for example, I was able to handle it. And I'm able to take care of my finances in the same way. I'm going to do better, though, than I did with my fitness stuff. I'm going to learn from my mistakes. But I'm also aware, too, that, yeah, I do have more control over my finances than I originally thought. I have that control. And it's not a dangerous control over my finances that I need to have. It's more just like a knowing that, yes, I am not a victim. I am not mercy of God telling me that I have to be poor. I don't think that it's always the best thing to be poor. I think it's okay to be rich. I think it's okay to be rich because when you're rich, you can help the poor from that place. But you have to be rich inside, whether it's rich in mind, rich in spirit, rich in finances. I think it does require a form of richness to know that I can help others. I can help myself. I can help my family. I can help the ones that I love. And I choose to acknowledge that. And even though I thought I had no control over my finances, I think I do have more control. I am 36 years old, by the way, and I also think to myself, if I didn't have any control over my finances, would I have really made it here? On some level, I had to have been doing something right, I guess. Maybe, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm doing something right. I don't know. And I may not have all the answers. I may not know everything there is to know about business. I may not know everything there is to know about selling. I may not know everything there is to know about how to communicate with people or how to help people. I may not know all of those things, but I know that I can learn. I know that I'm capable of learning. I know that I'm capable of making improvements. I know how to build systems now. I know how to use technology. I know how to use ChatGPT now. and I know how to code. I know how to do some basic coding. I know how to do some debugging. I know how to build websites. I know how to do certain things. I may not be the best at it, but I can get by. So I think I can. And I think if I just keep going and I just make one improvement every day, maybe that's good. Maybe that's helpful. Maybe that does something. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I can also just ask ChatGPT to compare fitness and the metaphor that I used earlier in this live stream to improving my finances. I think I can do that. I think I'm capable of that. And I choose to do that. And I also know too that just like with the fitness, it took me a few months to see results. And even then, it took me a couple of years before I really started to notice results and before others started to notice results too. So it's a process. It takes consistency. I'm only going to get older. And with all these years under my belt on doing all this stuff, yeah, I think I think I can do this. I think I'm capable. I think I'll give it a shot. I'll do my best. Feel a little bit more at peace now about my finances. I don't think I have no control. I think I do have more control. I think I do. I think if I just focus in on one thing and do that, I think I have a good shot here. And I don't need to do 10 million different exercises. I don't need to build 10 million different businesses or passive income streams. All I need is the most heavy hitter exercises like the bench press, the squat, and the deadlift. I just need to apply that to finances. And I think those things, if I just do that, and if I just treat it like working out, I think I think there's a good shot here. I just have to now figure out what exactly are those core lifts that are really going to build the strongest body and the strongest bone density and just apply that to the finances. And if I just apply that to the finances, it should be all right. So I let go of this belief that I had no control over my finances from my subconscious mind, from my conscious mind, from my physical body, from my mental body, from my emotional body, from my spiritual body, from my etheric body, from my astral body, from my heart, from my nervous system, back to God's light for permanent and everlasting transmutation and transformation. And I choose to believe that I do have more control over my finances. I may not be able to control everything. There are lots of things that are out of my control, and that's fine. But I think I do have more control than I gave myself credit for. I cannot control certain factors. I can control certain things like how many people do I reach out to? How many people do I cold DM or cold email or cold call? I can reach out to those people. And if it's just about numbers, all I have to do is use ChatGPT, make screenshots, write scripts, have a system for it, package that all into a system, and then just execute from there. And ChatGPT already gave me an income plan. Okay, fine. If I really wanted to execute it, maybe I could do that. Maybe it would work. Maybe. I don't know. But I'd have to do it and see and find out and really do it and stick to it like an actual training program. Maybe I can do that. I think I can do that. And I'm going to try it. Now that I believe that I do have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I'm free to take action. Now, repeat after me now. Now that I believe that I have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I feel pretty good to take action now. Now that I have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I feel pretty good to take action now. Now that I have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I feel pretty good to take action now. Now that I have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I feel pretty good to take action now. Now that I believe that I have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I feel confident to take action now. Now that I believe that I have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I feel good to take action now. Now that I believe that I have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I feel pretty good to take action now. Now that I believe that I have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I feel pretty good to take action now. Now that I believe that I have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I feel pretty safe taking action now. And now that I believe that I have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I feel confident taking action now. Okay, now we're going to do a special one. It's called the 9 gamut procedure. We're going to really lock in this new belief now. Make a fist, okay? Have it facing like this. Put it on your chest. Take your 2 fingers. We're going to tap on this part right here of the knuckle, which is between the pinky and the ring finger, right? So if I have my hand open like this is the pinky, this is the ring, right? I want to tap right here in the middle, okay? So make the fist. Boom. Okay. There's the chest. And now we're going to start tapping. Close your eyes. Repeat after me. Now that I believe I have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I feel confident taking action now. Open your eyes. Repeat. Now that I believe that I have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I feel very confident taking action now. Look down hard to the right. Now that I believe I have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I feel very good taking action now. Look hard down to the left. Now that I believe I have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I feel very confident taking action now. Look to the center. Roll your eyes clockwise starting from 12 o'clock. Now that I feel Now that I believe that I have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I feel very confident taking action now. Counterclockwise, roll your eyes counterclockwise and repeat. Now that I believe I have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I feel very confident taking action now. Hum happy birthday, 10 seconds with me. Count to 10 and then reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy birthday. And now look down and up and then repeat one last time. Now that I believe I have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I feel very confident taking action now. And hold the wrist one more time. Now that I believe I have more control over my finances than I originally thought, I feel very confident taking action now. Take a deep breath in, exhale, deep breath in, exhale, deep breath in, exhale. Okay, let's multitask this. Show me yes, show me no, show me true, show me false. My name is Gabriel. My name is Hema. My name is Soraya. My name is Jack. My name is Mama. My name is Guillermo. My name is Gabriel. I believe I have no control over my finances. Great. On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, the belief that I have no control over my finances has an emotional charge of 6. The belief that now remember, we started off with a 6. I started off with a 6 today, okay? And then within a couple of rounds, we already got it down to a 3, okay? This is just a double check. I already know what the answer is going to be. I already know what the result's going to be. This is just a double check. On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, the belief that I have no control over my finances has an emotional charge of 6 or less. It has an emotional charge of 5. It has an emotional charge of 4. It has an emotional charge of 3. It has an emotional charge of 2. It has an emotional charge of 1. The belief that I have no control over my finances has an emotional charge of 1. The belief that I have no control over my finances has an emotional charge of 0. The belief that I have no control over my finances is still alive. I believe that I have more control over my finances than I originally thought. Perfect. Done. Okay, that was it for today. If you found this helpful and you want to do your own EFT stuff, you can download my free EFT GPT. It's linked down in the description box. All you gotta do is just click on it, have a ChatGPT account, and then open up the cheap ChatGPT, the free EFT GPT, and it'll guide you through whatever your issue is. Just type it in, and you'll be good to go. All right. Hope that was helpful, and feel free to join me on the next live stream, which is tomorrow. I'll be doing this every day because this is my own inner work as well, and this just helps me. And that's it. All right. Let's wrap up with a prayer here. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespass. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Forgive our debtors as we forgive our debts. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive our trespassors. Forgive our trespassers as we forgive our trespasses. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Thank you, God, for all you do. Thank you, God, for all the blessings, miracles, and gifts of today. Thank you, God, for your unconditional love, support, and kindness. Thank you, God, for healing all financial limitation from every heart and mind across the universe. In the name of God and my mighty I am presence that I am, my great divine spirit team, subconscious mind, and the great white brotherhood of the highest vibrational frequency and consciousness with your unconditional love and support in your name, I command, declare, and decree that I am at peace with my finances, and every heart and mind in the universe has more peace with their finances and feels more secure about their financial life and feels more secure about their life in general. So it is, and so it was. Thank you. Okay. Always remember, we love you. You are loved. God loves you. And until next time, namaste.